like Stack Attacka, Sharpedo, Dodrio, and the Ice Cream Scoop. And we've got a pretty threatening squad ourselves, though. We have Weavile, Tapu Fini, Zapdos, Nidoqueen, Heatran, Serena, Haxorus, Mega Medicham the God, Licky the God, and Palossand. As you can see up top, we're bringing Tapu Fini, Zapdos, Nidoqueen, Mega Medicham, Licky, and Palossand, making its debut in the season here in what could be our last game, but hopefully not. Hopefully we can bring it this match and potentially again in the finals, because I really like Palossand. I just haven't found the opportunity to bring it this season thus far, but I have found it this week. In round 2 of the playoffs, I found my reasoning for bringing Palossand, and we'll get into that in just a minute. So, we've got Tapu Fini, and he's got Tapu Koko. So, we've got a little bit of a terrain war there. Very interesting things like that. Pretty nice check, semi-check to Infernape. Semi-check to Latias and Sharpedo as well. It can taunt certain things. It could, force him to run certain sets. Zapdos is a god. It's off the ground. It's a semi-decent check to things like an offensive Latias, Mudsdale. I can Toxic it, things like that. Depending on my set, depending on his set, I can take on Mega Venusaur if I was like a Life Orb extrasensory set. So it forces him to scout for things like that. I could be a static set, so he might not want to hit me with Infernape or Sharpedo with physical attacks, so on and so forth. I check Dodrio pretty well. Nidoqueen checks Tapu Koko decently well. Stack Attacka decently well, but that's just about it. I can taunt things like Cofagrigus. I can set up Toxic Spikes of my own, but he does have a Mega Venusaur which could absorb it. Now, Mega Medicham is a monster. If you look at his team, he doesn't really have a switch into it, and if he does, the rest of my team weakens it. Especially if I can get like a Toxic on Cofagrigus, I could be like a sub Toxic Baton Pass variant of Mega Medicham, so on and so forth. But let's go ahead and hop into the team builder here and see what we've got specifically. This Tapu Fini is meant to take physically offensive hits from Infernape. He doesn't have anything on the special side that really threatens me too much, outside of like Grass Knot, but that's not super threatening, and Surf Oko's Infernape back after Stealth Rocks. Moonblast does quite a bit to everything else. I got Protect there to scout, get a little bit of leftovers recovery back. I can taunt, I can waste turns of Trick Room if he does bring like a Trick Room Cofagrigus with Stack Attacka, so on and so forth. Surf also 2-hit KOs Mudsdale, which is actually a pretty big threat to my the squad I'm bringing, especially once it gets a stamina boost and so on and so forth. I could have ran a little bit more special attack investment so that I could take out a Tapu Koko after like 2 rounds of Stealth Rocks with a Scald or a Surf or a Moonblast. But I felt like Gunk Shot Infernape was too big of a threat, so I felt going more physically defensive overall was just a little bit better this matchup. And next up we got Zapdos, which is a max HP, max PBF set. This thing's meant to take hits from a specially offensive Tapu Koko. Take hits from Latias as well. Draco into Draco doesn't kill after Stealth Rocks, which is really nice. I can roost up on a lot of his Pokemon. I can click Discharge, get a Paralysis. Hidden Power Ice is nice for yeah, I mean, it does a little bit to Latias. It's a little bit too bulky to really get real damage on it. It does decent damage to Mudsdale, though, as long as it's not like max HP, max def. And we got the nice tech here. We're rocking the Tailwind this week because this thing is meant to, like I said, take a few hits from Tapu Koko. I can roost up. I can see what it's going to do. And if he's going to try to wear me down, I can get to the point where once he clicks Thunderbolt or Wild Charge or whatever it may be, I can live that hit and I can click Tailwind. The following turn he'll knock me out. Then I'll have 2 turns of Tailwind so that Mega Medicham can come in and claim a couple kills if Cofagrigus is gone. And I guess if he wanted to bring a defensive Latias he could do that too. But then he has to fear Ice Punch anyway. So probably Cofagrigus is his best answer. Next up, we have a Max HP, Max PBF. Listen, Coco's a real threat. So definitely trying to bring ways to get around that. We've got the Earth Power and the Ice Beam. It's the only coverage I really needed. Earth Power hits everything except Latias, which Ice Beam will do significant amounts of damage to with the sheer force ability. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Got the Black Sludge for a little bit of recovery. And despite him having Mega Venusaur, I am bringing Toxic Spikes. Last time I was able to, we played in like week 6 or something, week 5, week 6, something like that. And I was able to get up Toxic Spikes and Toxic a few of his Pokemon before Mega Venusaur came in by setting my Toxic Spikes up while Mega Venusaur was in. So it forced Mega Venusaur out, forced something else to get poisoned, and then Mega Venusaur come in to absorb the Toxic Spikes, which in turn in the late game allowed me to win the match because of recoil damage and poison damage on top of Coco from my Toxic Spikes. I can taunt his Stealth Rockers. I don't really want to stay in versus Mudsdale and take a big chunk or potentially die. But if it comes down to it and rocks are very essential for my opponent's win, I could taunt him and prevent that from happening. Ice Beam does a significant chunk to Mudsdale as well, and the Earth Power knocks out Stack Attack in one shot, no matter what set he is. Even I think Sugarberry variants are dropped with the sheer force ability and 8 special attack EVs. But yeah, that's the idea for Nidoqueen there. And next up we have the Mega Medicham. So we've got a substitute variant with Drain Punch. So I can sub up, I can Drain Punch, get my health back versus certain things. And then in the late game, I have enough speed so that a Tailwind will put me at ×2 speed, which will outspeed everything on my opponent's team, including Choice Scarf users. And I'm rocking the Psycho Cut, so that with my Adamant, Max Attack, Pure Power, Psycho Cut, it's not a contact move, so I'm not going to lose my Pure Power ability and can potentially knock out the Cofagrigus in a 2-hit or 3-hit KO, depending on hazards and stuff like that, and how much bulk he actually brings. And if he if I go for sub on his Will-O-Wisp, and then I'm able to click Psychic maybe 2 times before he can break my sub or something like that, it's all dependent, but Mega Medicham is a monster. It is one of my kill leaders, alongside of Zapdos this season, or knockout leaders, excuse me, Pokemon don't die. So yeah, next up we have Leaky, which is a mixed defense set with Wish, Protect, obviously, very bulky mon, with Oblivious and Leftovers. This thing just eats hits, and eats hits for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Sends out Earthquakes and Ice Beams to the majority of his team, which in turn helps the rest of my team, getting rid of Coco with an Earthquake, or getting rid of, or chipping down the Latias or the Mudsdale with Ice Beam, so on and so forth. Can take hits from the Ice Cream Scoop, can take hits from basically everything on his team, at least one hit anyway. And last but not least, we have our boy Heckler here, the shiny Palossand with the Rocky MZ and the Water Compaction. If you don't know what Water Compaction is, it's a ability introduced, I think, on Palossand itself, where if you get hit with a water type attack, your defense is boosted by 2 stages, I believe. So Milotic, watch out. However, it really wouldn't help because I think I would be too KO'd by Scald anyway. But anyways, we have the Rocky MZ Stealth Rock because he could lead with Coco, and he might be a Sugarberry variant, and he might click Taunt, knowing that he can live my Earth Power. He clicks Taunt to prevent Stealth Rocks, and then he can switch out accordingly at that point. However, with my Rocky MZ, like all other Z moves, I will bypass the Taunt and set up my Stealth Rocks anyway, which are very, very, very crucial to the game. Earth Power and Shadow Ball are the only coverage I need. I'm max HP, max defense. Like I said, with this, with Palossand, Nidoqueen, and Zapdos, Tapu Koko should not be a threat. Last time he brought Z Mirror move, which boosted its attack like a Swords Dance, and Wild Charge almost ripped through my team. That will not happen again. I will not let that happen again. And Shore Up is is like Roost and Recover. It gives you 50% of your health back, and if you're in, I think, the Sandstorm, it gives you 2/3 of your health back, so it gives you 66% back, so that's really cool, and it could be a nice tech. But yeah, it's going to be the team, and we'll go ahead and hop into the battle, and we'll be right back. Okay, so here we are with the replay, and my opponent chooses to bring the Tapu Koko, Infernape, Ice Cream Scoop, Cofagrigus, Mega Venusaur, and the Mudsdale, and we have brought the team that we showed in the team builder section of the video. We'll go ahead and hop into the video now. And I'm going to lead Palossand, like I mentioned in my team builder. I 100% get Rocks up, unless he leads with Rip Scott, which he does. And I'm either forced to take a big hit or just switch out here. And I'm just going to switch out to my Tapu Fini. I can take Blizzard. I can take a Freeze Dry as well because of my natural Spadef bulk. And what I'm going to do is protect and scout for it. And he actually switches out into Rip Scott again, who is this Mega Venusaur as well. And I'm just going to click protect here, see what he wants to go for. He goes for the Sludge Bomb. I'm going to be able to switch into that with Nidoqueen or Licky. I'm going to go ahead and just hard switch into Licky as my opponent switches into the Mudsdale. Now here's where having Toxic would be nice, but I'm just going to hard switch back out into Tapu Fini. I am max physically defensive and can just throw off a Scald or something like that. And he actually stays in to Toxic because the Misty Terrain had disappeared. I disagree with that play full-heartedly. It does work out for him because he gets my Mega Medicham on the switch in. But had I clicked Surf there, I would have been able to 2-hit KO him. And had he switched out on the following turn after the Surf hit him into Mega Venusaur to take it comfortably, he would have never been able to get this thing back to full, back to even over half, because Nidoqueen packs the Ice Beam, Licky packs the Ice Beam, Mega Medicham will knock him out if he's below half, Zapdos packs the Hidden Power Ice, so on and so forth, and I just full-heartedly disagree with that Toxic play. I don't think it was worth it. He has Tapu Koko to always come in and force out or knock out the Tapu Fini. He has Venusaur, which does the same exact thing. I just don't think the Toxic there was worth it, worth him losing Mudsdale. But he did lose game one. We played earlier this season and he lost that game, so maybe he feels he needs to play a little bit more aggressively to take on my squad. I'm not sure though. I still feel, you know, he has the matchup advantage, and he doesn't, like, he can play 100% safe this entire match and potentially win. Like, it's harder for me to win than it is for him. So now he's got this monster in, and I'm going to click the Psycho Cut. There's potential for crits and stuff, and he goes for the Earthquake there and brings me down below, 20%. I'm going to hard switch back into Tapu Fini. It's really my only way of knocking this thing out after a defense boost. And here he has to bring in his Nidoqueen. I bring in Nidoqueen, and he has to bring in his Mega Venusaur. So he's faster than me. And Rip Scott again. All this Pokemon are named the same, and I'm able to get up my Toxic Spikes once again. But thanks to the terrain being up, he's going to be able to potentially avoid anything being poisoned. I'm not sure if he saw that off the top of his head or not, but it didn't work out for me as planned. And here we are able to go ahead and throw up Toxic Spikes once again and just take another Earthquake. It's not too big of a deal to take Earthquake. I do have other ways to check Tapu Koko at this point. And I can just hard switch back into my Licky Licky, take nothing, throw off a Wish, infinitely throw off wishes here. He is able to lead seed me, but I will be able to PP stall him from that. So it's not too big of a deal. I do go out into my Palisand here, and I'm going to be able to get my Stealth Rocks up at this point. He shouldn't be able to do too much besides poison me, which is not too big of a deal, I don't think. And at this point, we can click Shadow Ball or something, weaken him, or we can just hard switch out. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to go out into our Zapdos and kind of start forcing this this Mega Venusaur to start losing PP, or something's going to start losing PP here. But we're going to have to hard switch back out because we actually don't pack anything to hit that thing with, and we don't want to just get leech seeded or Sludge Bomb poison or anything like that. So we're going to throw off a Wish, we're going to protect, get our health back, so on and so forth. It's a little bit of a long battle. I'm going to quit pausing it for a second and let us just get into the drift of, letting the plays play out and whatnot, and just kind of commentate slowly but surely as it goes through. So he brings in the Cofagrigus and he goes for a Trick Room. There's no way he's faster than me, though. Cofagrigus is slower than piss, but he does reveal to be faster. So he's gonna take me down below like 20% again, 10% even. But I am able to break his sub, and I can switch into my Tapu Fini here. And what I'm gonna do is I should have clicked Shadow Ball there and prevented the sub, but I can just break his sub with Moonblast here anyway, and his Shadow Ball is not gonna do as much to Tapu Fini, and I have a sack now. And I can go into my Licky Licky here, be immune to the Shadow Ball, as well as catch the Mega Venusaur and able to wish up. After I'm going to protect, obviously. Get a little bit of health back, first and foremost. So he brings the Cofagrigus back in. Not able to do anything to me, I don't believe. He has revealed Shadow Ball and Sub, so he's likely not got too many other moves. Perhaps he does, perhaps he doesn't. But yeah, Moonblast has shown to break the sub, so I'm just going to go ahead and break his sub there. And he reveals to be Calm Mind as well. So he must be Hidden Power. Hidden Power fighting so that he could hit my Licky Licky. That's almost the only thing that makes sense. But with the taunt, he's not going to be able to 1v1 me, because he's not able to set up another Calm Mind, and I'll be able to knock him out before he knocks me out. I get a special attack drop right there. I don't think it mattered because I would have still been in range to knock him out, or at least prevent him from setting up again. So now I can I should have clicked Protect there and got a little bit of HP from my leftovers back, but it was a misplay on my part, so I'm not too happy about that play. But here I'm actually going to go for the Protect, so I should have did that there and then did it here too, and I would have been at like 39% instead of what I am at. And here I'm going to go into Nidoqueen as he goes for the Nature's Madness, predicted something else other than Tapu Fini to be in. I get a little bit of chip damage off on the Mega Venusaur with the Earth Power, and I'm able to go for Toxic Spike here, predicting him to synthesize up. And now, predicting his Earthquake, I can switch out into my Zapdos. And here's where things are going to get a little bit tricky. I'm going to Roost up as he goes for the Leech Seed. He misses his Leech Seed, which is a little bit unfortunate for him, but I don't think it mattered. He was at full anyway. And on the following turn, he gets the poison back on my Licky Licky. So a little bit more fortunate for him to have gotten that poison than for me, for me dodging his Leech Seed. But I'm going to be able to bring in my Mega Medicham now. He has no switch in at this point. And I'm going to click Drain Punch here. It is my best play because I get health back. And with the Toxic damage and the Stealth Rock, I should be able to knock out the Mudsdale anyway with the Psycho Cut. And I'm still able to come back in on Stealth Rocks one more time. Actually, 2 more times. Maybe 3 more times. But with the poison damage, just probably 2. So here he brings in a the Ice Cream Scoop. I'm thinking he's Scarf at this point, so I don't want to Don't want to take that with Mega Medicham. Rather sack off Licky Licky, go into my Zapdos, and roost off whatever damage he may go for. And he hard switches out into his Mega Venusaur. We both take the hell damage. I'm going to go for the paralysis here on my on my discharge as he goes for the Sludge Bomb. So I do have an out at this point. What I can do is set up a Tailwind and get my Mega Medicham in. And once that happens, I'm going to be able to outpace his entire team, and I can Psycho Cut everything except for this thing and the Infernape, in which I can click Drain Punch and get a lot of health back from the Infernape, and more than likely knock it out as well. So he goes for the Freeze Dry. I'm going to go for the Roost. He's going to die to the poison damage, and I'm max HP, max PBF. So Mega Venusaur's Sludge Bombs aren't going to be doing too much, but as you can see, Hidden Power Ice is doing absolutely nothing to this thing. So what I should do here, eventually, on one of these Sludge Bombs, I need to Roost up, and the turn that I don't take damage, I need to, right here, I should switch out to my Nidoqueen, but I stay in. And I take damage. I think that was a misplay. I should have went out to Nidoqueen first, and then came around to my senses later. So what I'm going to do here is set up some Toxic Spikes. Want to weaken. The plan here at this point is to weaken Infernape in Drain Punch range, so that once I can set up a Tailwind, I can actually sweep his team with poison damage and Mega Medicham's pure power just being too powerful overall. And at this point, I'm swapping around. I'm trying to make these plays basically perfect. I don't have room for error, really, when it comes to switching in on these Earthquakes and the Sludge Bombs and so on and so forth. I'm trying to get this thing to where he runs out of Synthesis and out of Leech Seed at the same time. A little bit hard to do. I am able to eat up his Earthquakes though, but with Leech Seed and Earthquake coming into play, I'm a little bit weaker than I should be. So here I go for Tailwind, revealing that I do have it. Excuse me, I got caught up on my own breath. But the plan is now that I've revealed Tailwind is to actually pull it off. What I need to happen is to take this Sludge Bomb. I need him to Earthquake on my Roost, and then I need to Tailwind up. But he's going to hard switch out into his Coco. Theoretically, he can avoid Infernape taking poison damage by switching back into his Mega Venusaur, which he does. But I'm able to get his switch there with my Nidoqueen switch as I go into Nidoqueen and set up my Toxic Spikes once again. And he reveals to be able to knock me out with his Flare Blitz there. And if he's I was more SPDF invested, so he's basically going to be able to sweep me here. I don't have Fake Out, I don't have Bullet Punch or anything like that. And he reveals Mach Punch anyway, so he's going to be able to take this victory. A little bit unfortunate that I mistimed my Tailwind there. I thought at that range, then Sludge Bomb into Leech Seed, not into Leech Seed, but the Sludge Bomb damage plus the Leech Seed damage would knock me out, and then I would have a Tailwind up plus 3 turns to work with, and Mega Medicham could have potentially swept. I think the plays would have been to just click Psycho Cut every turn, from 19 down to 12, Psycho Cut the Mega Venusaur, and then if he brings in the Infernape immediately, I would more than likely he would be, if he went Infernape immediately, he would have been Mach Punch, no doubt. So I would probably have lost anyway. So yeah, I don't think there was an out at that point. I think the biggest play that I regret is letting his Mudsdale Toxic me, although I completely disagree with his play to Toxic in the first place. And then the following turn, I shouldn't even have attacked him. I should have switched out to Tapu Fini immediately. But yeah, this is that Mad Brent's last season, so I'm actually okay with this loss. Like, it's not as disappointing because now I want my buddy to go on and win the finals. Depending on who he plays, really, if he plays Andy, it's really a toss up. I don't really mind who wins because both of them are uh, are due for a PBF title. But if it's A1, obviously I'm going to want Bryn to win. Not that I have anything against A1 or anything. I just think that Bryn and Andy are more due for a title in the PBF than A1. He hasn't really, established himself as the, PBF player. Like, he hasn't played all of his games. He hasn't been on time for all of his games. He hasn't been in as many seasons as the rest of us have, and so on and so forth. But yeah, that's going to be it. Let me know what you thought about the battle. Pretty nice one here. 76 turns and a nice 3-0 victory for my buddy. And yeah, good game to him. Good luck in the finals. And that's going to be it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.